What's going on, everyone? Now, you guys have been commenting a lot of stuff on my camera comparisons. Guys, I just want to tell you once more, I'm not the best photographer, best comparison person when it comes to cameras, but I have been trying my best, and I've been reading all you guys' comments, and you guys have actually been critiquing me and leaving helpful advice, and I really appreciate it. Even the mean ones are helping me. And I took your guys' advice and I summed it down to one sentence: that I need to stop being fat and obese and lazy and go outside my house and actually take a couple photos. And that's exactly what I did in this case. Now, I still took a lot of photos inside, but I did go out and take a couple more photos outside. I put my shoes on, I put some slacks on, I went outside, and I burnt a few calories. But there's a mix of photos inside, outside, and like I said, we're comparing the iPhone 8 and 10R here. And there's quite a bit of difference between these two. Now, I was not able to test portrait mode on either of these phones. Well, the 10R has portrait mode, but the iPhone 8 does not. But they both have single sensors, so let's just kind of see how they compare. Now, looking at the first photo, you can see that on first glance, you probably won't be able to tell that much of a difference. They both look like pretty good photos, but when you zoom in a little bit and enhance the photo, I can kind of see that the iPhone 10R does kind of sharpen the image a little bit more than the iPhone 8. And this is kind of, obvious when you're zooming in. The wood itself looks to be almost the same type of shade. It looks a little wider on the iPhone 10R, but you can see on the mountains on the red on the back of the iPhone 10 wallpaper, you can see that it actually kind of sharpens a little bit more, and that's actually a really good thing. I noticed yesterday and the day before, my other comparisons, they weren't really looking that good on the 10R, but in terms of these two, it looks like the iPhone 10R did a better job here. And, kind of stepping back to the past comparisons, it looked like the main problem with the 10R and why it kind of lagged a little bit was mostly because of the software, I would imagine. The Smart HDR maybe, it's still in its infancy, so it still has a lot of ways to go, in my opinion. Now, this next photo is another photo of the iPhone 10, and in my opinion, I still think it's not even that good of a photo, I'll be honest, but in my opinion, I think the iPhone 10R does a better job here as well. If you can kind of see the mountains in the iPhone 10 again, like the kind of background wallpaper thing, it looks a little bit more sharper and warmer on the iPhone 10R, but the wood almost looks the same color. Maybe it's a little bit whiter on the iPhone 8, but I would still probably give the edge of this specific photo to the iPhone 10R. Now, this next photo is another one inside. I put the photo lighting on, and it looks to me that the iPhone 10R and iPhone 8, they look almost like the same photo. I think the background is a little bit darker on the iPhone 10R, and I always kind of hesitate saying that because some people might think I like darker photos or lighter photos altogether. It really just depends on the image. In this case, it kind of looks like to me that the iPhone 8 did a better job here, in my opinion. Sometimes I like lighter photos, sometimes I like darker photos, but in this specific photo, I think the iPhone 8 kind of exposed the photo better and didn't really dampen it as much. It looks like in the iPhone 10R that the grass looks a little bit less green on the other side. No offense to anybody, that was a stupid joke. But it looks like to me that the iPhone 10R's photo is a little bit darker, in my opinion. The iPhone 8, it looks like, is a little bit better. So in this specific photo, I'll probably give the edge to the iPhone 8. Now, this next photo is kind of more taking a still photo. This looks like something I would do in a thumbnail if I were to take a photo for a YouTube thumbnail or something like that. This is kind of how I would go, and you can kind of see, this kind of is up to you, which type of photo do you like? And to me, when I zoomed in a little bit, you can kind of see that, in my opinion, the iPhone 10R kind of does do a better job at sharpening the image overall. At first, when it was outside in the overall bigger image, it looked like the iPhone 8 had the lead. But when you do zoom in, you can kind of see that it does sharpen the image a little bit more. And it kind of makes the image look a little bit better on the iPhone 10R. Like I said, that has a lot to do with the software with Smart HDR. So in this case, again, I will probably give the edge to the iPhone 10R. So that's like 3 photos for the iPhone 10R and only 1 photo for the iPhone 8. So far between these phones, the iPhone 10R is doing well. Now, this next photo is one that I took outside in a parking lot, and it's just a still photo of my iPhone 10. Now, on first glance, again, you might not be able to tell that much of a difference, and you might think both phones are almost the same or whatever. But when I zoomed in, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be zooming into their photos like this, but when you do zoom in, you can see that the iPhone 10R, in my opinion, does look a little bit sharper overall. They both are the same screen brightness. It's not auto brightness or anything like that. I didn't overexpose one. These are unedited images. And in my opinion, I think the iPhone 10R did an overall better job at sharpening the image. And you can kind of see that the text is a little bit sharper too. Whereas on the iPhone 8, it looks not as sharp, in my opinion. It doesn't look horrible. Like, neither of these images look horrible. But I definitely think that in this case, when you're outside, Smart HDR does a lot better than the HDR function on the iPhone 8. So in this case, I'll probably still give the edge to the iPhone 10R. Now, this is another photo I took outside, and this kind of has to go in hand with how iPhone 8 kind of overexposes images sometimes. They both were focused on the leaf. I just touched the image and made it focus on the same spot. And I'll say that the bokeh effect also looks a little bit better on the iPhone XR. This is not portrait mode. This is not anything like that. This is straight up just a photo. And you can see very easily that the iPhone XR did a better job at taking a photo in direct sunlight, kind of, the sun was back there and it didn't really overexpose it like on the iPhone 8. And I think at Apple's keynote, they actually mentioned this. They mentioned like if you're taking a photo in direct sunlight or whatever, it'll basically do a better job at not overexposing the photos or stuff like that. And this is a perfect case of it. I mean, on the older technology on the iPhone 8, which isn't even that old if you think about it, it looks like there's like a huge sunlight. It's like a white sky. But on the iPhone XR, it looks much better. Every other part of the photo seems pretty even, but you can't even see like the other trees on the back of the iPhone 8. So that's pretty crazy. You're missing a lot sometimes in a case like this. So definitely I would also give the edge to the iPhone XR here as well. Now this is another outdoor photo, and this one blew me away. From first glance, again, you can easily tell, like, this isn't even one you have to like put side by side. You can tell very easily that the iPhone 8 kind of darkened the image and then made the screen seem very, very bright. I did not change the screen brightness or anything like that. I tapped on the screen on both devices and focused in on the screen, and the iPhone 8 just took in all that light and just overexposed it again, and it overexposed the wrong part. But you can see on the iPhone XR, when I did tap on the screen, you can see the screen is in focus, but everything else doesn't seem like way dark or anything like that. It seems like the iPhone 8 was trying to maybe over sharpen and maybe make the screen seem brighter, but on the iPhone XR, you can see that I think overall it looks better. It looks a little bit lighter. It doesn't look maybe as sharp as something as the iPhone 8. I mean, I liked how the wood looks on the iPhone 8. That's definitely probably what I think, but I think as an overall photo, the iPhone XR again did a better job. It seems like it's a much better photo than what it is on the iPhone 8. Now this photo, I honestly couldn't tell too much of a difference. I was expecting the iPhone 8 to overexpose again and maybe make the sky look way more blue or white or something like that, but they both look pretty even. This was just a photo outside of a tree, and I mean, there's really not going to be too much of a difference here. I feel like when you're taking photos of closer subjects, you're going to see much more of a difference, but in this case, the trees were kind of far back, so I mean, it is what it is. I didn't really see too much of a difference here. And now what's interesting about this next photo is that yesterday when I compared the iPhone X and the iPhone XR, I noticed that the iPhone X kind of lightened this image. Now I have to reiterate, every time I do a comparison like this, I always delete all the photos I had before of this comparison before, and I retake all the photos. So I have the iPhone XR and I go out and I retake every single photo. So these are not the same images as yesterday. These are completely different images. And it's pretty crazy. As you can see, the iPhone XR kind of lightened the image, but the iPhone 8 darkened the image a little bit, and I honestly don't know which one I like more. I feel like I would like the darker image overall. It looks a little bit sharper, but I feel like it's just a little bit too dark. But I feel like at the same time, the iPhone XR is a little bit better because that's kind of what it looked like outside. It's kind of more actual, like what the color was outside when I was taking this photo. But I just feel like it's a little bit too bright and kind of a little bit overexposed. I would love some type of photo in between this. I feel like it would look a lot better. I mean, you can change the lighting conditions and everything in the settings in the photo app, but I probably would, I don't know, I feel like it's a tie. I mean, I don't know which one I like more. I don't really have a preference between lighter or darker photos. I feel like something in the middle would have been better. So in this case, I think it's a tie. They both kind of did a weird thing. So I don't really have like a direct winner here, but it really doesn't hinder against, what I think about both these phones. Now this next photo is very important as well, and it really showcases how the iPhone 8 does overexpose the images again. When you're taking a photo, and not even, like I said, this is not even direct sunlight, so I don't even know what's going on here, but on the iPhone 8, you can see that the background is actually a lot whiter. I keep saying whiter is whiter, but I'm just kind of in when I'm talking, I don't even know. But on the iPhone XR, you can see again that the photo is lightened in the background. You can see more of the blue sky. I mean, it literally looks like it's snowing, or like the sky is completely white on the iPhone 8, but on the iPhone XR, you can see it much, much better. And like I said, I did not edit these images or anything like that. The leaves were kind of blowing when I was taking this photo, so the sticks you see are the same sticks, they're just, the leaves were kind of moving, so it's the same location and everything. And even noticing and looking at the leaves, I feel like the leaves are a little bit more colorful on the iPhone XR, and the photo overall has a little bit more character than on the iPhone 8. It looks a little bit more dull just because it did kind of overexpose the background and the skies in the background. So that's kind of what this photo has leading to me. And I feel like overall on outdoor photos, now I kind of understand why people wanted me to go outside, because I didn't even notice this before. For people who are planning on taking outdoor photos, the iPhone XR will definitely do you better. Now this next photo is kind of dumb, but it kind of showcases me another thing. If you can see on the iPhone XR, it's just a photo of a tree. On the iPhone XR, if you look towards the top, you can kind of get a glimpse that the top is a little bit more darker, and I feel like overall the image again is a little bit more sharper on the iPhone XR, but I feel like the iPhone 8 did a decent job in not overexposing the background or anything crazy like that. So in terms of both of these photos here, I feel like they're both decent. I mean, it's kind of not even that good of a photo, but it is what it is. Now, this next photo is pretty important as well, and I feel like this is one of the more important images that I tested or that I took, and you can kind of see that I feel like both images are pretty decent, but I feel like the iPhone XR is better. I feel like the iPhone 8 overall just overexposes most of the photos that it takes. I feel like that's a pretty reoccurring problem with it. I mean, if you look at the iPhone XR, it looks a little bit more sharper when you put them side by side. I mean, look at the Gmail app, for example. It might look a little bit washed out on the iPhone XR, but I feel like comparing both, I would probably take the iPhone XR's photo over the iPhone 8's because it just seems like the image is too bright sometimes. I mean, and sometimes you're missing out content. I mean, look at the Notes app, for example. You're kind of missing out the lines in between. The Clock app is a little bit hard to read, and just like other things like that. I mean, I would rather probably go safe and be able to get in all my content than have a case where like the Notes app where it's kind of missing those lines in between. So again, the brightness and images were not messed out. Even the Reminders app, you can't even see the lines in that either. Is it a big deal? Probably not really, but I would rather be able to see my content in the photos that I took than not see parts of my photos. So I feel like the iPhone 8 overall does have a slight issue of like overexposing overall, and I feel like the iPhone XR did a better job at making the colors of the photo really true to what they were in real life. So I feel like overall the iPhone XR was definitely the winner here. And there's quite a bit of difference between these. Like I said, I was not able to test portrait mode because the iPhone 8 does not have portrait mode. So I'll definitely say that if you're in the realm of getting a new camera or anything like that, or you want a phone with a better camera, I guess the iPhone XR is an advantage here. But would I upgrade from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone XR? Probably not. I feel like the iPhone XR is just too expensive for what it's worth. And if you're in the market for a new phone or a new camera overall, I would probably just go up to an iPhone 8 Plus, but even that, I think the iPhone 8's camera is still pretty capable. If the iPhone XR was 100% the perfect camera, which it isn't, it's not even a perfect phone, but let's say it was 100% in this comparison, I feel like the iPhone 8 would probably be like an 85%, maybe 85% in this case, because it doesn't have portrait mode, and because it does kind of have a weird overexposing problems. Hopefully, I mean, maybe Apple can fix it with a software update or something, I don't know. It's not a life-threatening thing, I mean, it's not going to kill anybody, but I just think it's kind of weird that it overexposes sometimes. But I didn't even mention this in the beginning of this video, but the iPhone 8 did have a cracked back, but the camera lens is not cracked. The camera lens is perfectly fine, so I feel like a lot of people are going to have questions about it and leave comments down there. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think the iPhone XR was the winner here? Do you guys think the iPhone 8 was the winner here? Like I said, this is just my opinion. I'm just showing you guys what I think, and you guys can look at the photos and even take your own photos if you have both phones and check them out side by side. But let me know if I can do any more things in this comparison. I want to start doing video tests as well. It's just really hard to put videos side by side. I should have done it when I went outside, but it's just really hard to do it. I hope you guys can understand. But I'm trying to get better with these camera tests, so leave some comments of what you guys think. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those things are linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.